In this lesson, we will learn about safety and storage. So let's start. First off, if your knife is sharp, this is a great thing because dull knives actually will hurt you more than sharp knives. Because with a dull knife, you have to put more pressure, and therefore, if you slip, you're gonna cut yourself really bad. Also, a sharp knife makes a nice clean cut in your hand and it will heal a lot faster. So keep your knife sharp. Second thing you gotta do is make sure you choose the right knife for the job that you wanna do. For example, if you wanna peel an onion and you use the big knife to try to take the core, that's very, very dangerous. So it could slip and you could cut yourself. The next thing is, we don't want to use our hand as a cutting board. So for example, if you have an avocado that you want to score, don't do it right on top of your hand. Either put a towel or just do it straight on the cutting board. Just don't cut on your hand. Most of the accidents that happen at home, they're actually because of that reason. The next thing I want to mention is that you gotta make sure that your cutting board is always dry, and any kind of ingredients, for example, if you have a chicken or anything that is kind of wet, make sure you pat it dry because things that are wet are slippery and you could cause an accident. Next up, I want to talk about if you walk around the kitchen and you want to pass somebody a knife, make sure you don't give it to them like this. You gotta flip it, have the tip towards you, hold it in the back side of the knife and pass it like that, and make sure that the person actually says, I got the knife. Or just put it right down and tell them to pick it up. If you're walking around the kitchen, another thing I want to mention is never walk with a knife around like that. Sometimes people do that. You gotta make sure that the knife is flipped against your forearm, and as you walk, the knife, the blade is towards you and it's protected so you don't cut other people. There's so many people that walk around and they hurt each other. Or you want to point it down. You just point it straight down, just like this, point it straight down. This could be even safer than the first that I showed you. Also, if your knife drops, make sure you let it drop on the floor. Don't try to grab it and cut yourself. Whenever we place a knife on a surface, make sure that it's padded. So I like to use a towel when I'm using my knives, so they're always cushioned and I don't destroy them and it's safe for me. I always know where they are. Avoid your knives to be all over the cutting board. Now let's go to storage. You could use a knife block. This is basically a wooden block that you could put your knives inside. Or you could use a magnetic strip that you could put on the wall and the knives will be right there. But in all the cases, you see how that went? In all the cases, you want to make sure that you have the knives that you need next to you. This is for storage. If you want to put them on the drawer, there's wooden ones that they have little slots that you put the knife right there. Just make sure that the knives are not basically loose, because that will make you, every time you go grab your knife, you might cut yourself. The other thing I do is when I place them on the towel, I place the smaller knife in front of the bigger. So this way, if I go to grab it, I'm not gonna cut myself. The other way around, because the blade is smaller, when I'm going to grab the big one, the blade is way closer on my hand and that could cut myself. There you go. If you are a traveling chef or you wanna bring your knives and show off your knife skills to your friends, you wanna use a chef roll. This is where I have all my basic knives. So a way to travel with them is they're little containers just like this one, covers, that they're open up, they're actually padded inside. So your knife goes right here, your knife is safe and you are safe. So let's close this up. The other option that you have is this right here. So your blade goes right in. Just be careful to make sure that the tip of the knife doesn't go over. When I put my knives in my chef roll, I always put the handle in the pocket instead of the head. Some people put the tip of the knife here, but the tip could cut the fabric and then it could fall off. I've witnessed people actually cutting themselves because they put them like that. So make sure, even if you're traveling and you have a chef roll, you gotta cover them. The third option is, if maybe you have a knife that there's no case for it, you basically could take wax paper, wrap it up, create a tip on the top so the tip is covered, and just put a little bit of tape, just like this. Most of my knives, if you see, they're actually just like that. Now that we know how to stay safe and how to store our knives, how about we go to the next lesson and we'll learn how to clean them.